Hello, my beautiful soul family. I am Katie Davis, and I am a color artist working with my intuition to create things for the collective. So, I have a message that I want to share today. I was in meditation and this morning, and I was listening in, and I got kind of an interesting download of information that I thought was interesting. And initially, I felt like I was kind of fighting. I didn't feel like I knew if it was to share, but the more I sat with it, the more I realized I think that this is a message to share. So I'm going to share this message with you today, and I'm going to do some tie-dye. So I'm putting on my gloves because I'm working with some materials that are not great for my skin. And as I am tying up these pieces, I'm going to just talk to you about kind of the overall I guess vision slash meditation that I had today. And then as I add the color, I'm going to just speak a little bit of blessing over you, over myself, over our collective in general. So if you feel called to stay, please feel free to just take in whatever resonates, and whatever doesn't, please feel free to release it. Anything that doesn't resonate and it's not for you, that's totally okay. I'm working with a couple of sweatsuits today. I'm really excited to be making some sweatsuits, cozy things. And yeah, so I'm gonna move the camera down so you can see what I'm doing while I'm talking. And we'll just get started here. I'm gonna actually lower the camera just a little bit because it's kind of high. There we go. So I'm just stretching this sweatshirt out, kind of taking in the shape of it, thinking about the shapes that I want to create today. And as I'm doing that, I'm just going to kind of ask that Spirit just come and join me as I'm being creative today and recalling a message that I felt I felt called to share today. I have some artificial sinew that I'm going to be using to tie up this t-shirt or sweatshirt. And today I'm going to be dyeing this sweatshirt inside out because the fleece likes to catch that dye really, really good. And so I've been thinking a lot about strategy-wise, how do I want this sweatshirt to take up the dye, and I think that's kind of what I came up with for today. We're going to make a interesting little geode shape. I think I'm going to start down here in the corner. I'll kind of see what we can do here. I'm going to scrunch these little bits up here and push that center in. I don't want this to be a perfect circle, so I'm getting kind of scrunchy with that. I'm talking my way through the process of this just for a few minutes while I get in the flow, and then as I'm kind of in the flow of this, I'll start to be able to speak about kind of what I sense the collective needs to hear today, and also just a little bit about what I sense the Spirit was showing me earlier today during my vision time. I've got this little tool just to kind of help pull that tight for myself because my hands are sometimes not as strong as they need to be for this process. as I was in meditation today, I saw with my mind's eye, with my intuitive eye, a spirit that looked like, well, at first I thought it was a fire. I thought it was a really big fire, but it was an interesting fire. It was a blue flame, and as I got closer to that blue flame, I saw the flame kind of grow in front of me, and I put my hands out in front of me like this, actually more like out here, kind of like this. In my vision, I put my hands out in front of me, and actually I did it in real life too. And I asked the question, whoa, what is this? What is this? What is this flame? What is this? And I saw the flame start to turn into like a stream of energy, I guess. It looked like a stream of fire in the air, and then I saw it start to move. And as I watched it move, it moved its way quickly through the sky like the wind. And I asked, oh, is this flame the wind? And it said, no, this is the fire, but it's like the wind. And I felt like it was moving like a horse, like a very fast horse through the sky. Kind of had the motion of a very fast horse running. And it was whipping through the sky, whipping through the air. And I didn't feel afraid of it. I feel like that's an important thing to say out loud. I didn't feel afraid at all. It was actually kind of a shocking, exciting feeling. But I definitely was paying attention to it. And as I watched it go through the sky, go through the air, I watched this, I want to call it a being. It felt very alive. This fire wind turned into what looked like a hurricane, and kind of a tornado hurricane, one of those big storms that's got a lot of wind involved, and it was moving around like this. I'm actually going to do that with this sweatshirt. I'm going to twist it around. And I felt like, I was watching it, and I saw it. I was afraid that it was going to create some destruction. Initially, that was my first thought, was like, oh, is this creating destruction? And again, the sort of sense of peace came over me. And I just want to remind you in my visual that this wind, this fire, was a bright, light. It was actually light blue, white color. It was not a red flame. It was a white blue flame. And then I watched as it became this kind of storm, and kind of overtaking a lot of things as it went through. It was just kind of burning a lot of things up. And then I saw, in this vision, I saw a big pool. It's like the fire landed, and it landed in this big pool of water. It turned into kind of like I don't know, it looked like it became a big swimming pool is what it looked like. And all of a sudden I saw people going in and out of this water. And I asked in my spirit, I said, what is happening here? Isn't this fire gonna burn them up? And I felt a little alarmed in my spirit. This is funny, I can't find my scissors, so I'm gonna actually just burn this to release that sinew. It's kind of funny that I can't find my scissors today. And I said, isn't that pool? I mean, people are going in there. I saw them entering into the pool, and you know, my very curious self, a little bit anxious maybe, self asked the question, you know, oh my gosh, are those people going to burn up? And immediately as I asked that question, I saw people coming out of the pool, and they were going in like fully dressed, like normal clothes, normal life kind of energy, and they were coming out bright white, like white creatures of light, white beings. They almost didn't look like themselves. If I hadn't known that they were coming out, like my sense was, oh, these people are going in and then they're coming out. So, but if I hadn't had that sense, I would have thought they were different beings. They looked totally different. Then they were coming out of this bath, just covered in light, glowing kind of from the inside out, and they were bright white. And I watched as they kind of were stepping out of that, and then I watched as they were kind of noticing that as they walked, there was kind of like a residue of this light where they went. So I watched them kind of go into their houses, a little unsure of what to do, and some of them hiding away, like even in their bedrooms, because they weren't feeling like they knew what to do with this new thing that had happened to them, this fire that had burned away literally like all of the stuff that they were wearing, and all of it. My sense was that they went back to their homes, but they were not able to even participate with the things that they would normally participate in. I watched as people were kind of well, I mean, it's kind of hard. I watched as people were struggling with this. It was almost like a depression that some people went into. I saw people covering themselves with the blankets in their rooms and kind of covering their heads, unsure what they should be doing next, because it's almost like everything they touched turned bright white, and there was a sense of fear of destruction. Like they were afraid, these people were afraid, or maybe not even afraid, but just unsure how to move about in the world. So I saw a lot of these people kind of hiding in their rooms. Maybe not hiding is not quite the right word, but definitely like in their room, their bedrooms, kind of alone. Some of them hiding under blankets. And I watched as these bedrooms, actually, these rooms that they were in, were transformed into these bright white spaces. It was almost like everything they came in contact with would transition into something new, and transition into something that looked a lot like them. And I asked Spirit about that. I said, does this mean that everything that these people come in contact with it's going to change, you know, are they going to change things? Are they supposed to change things? And I really sensed the Spirit said, no, they don't have to change anything, but it will change because of their change. Things are going to change just based on the change that they've made. And so I felt like that was a really important part of that. Okay, so before I continue, this sweatshirt's all tied up. Whew. Now I'm going to move on to the next sweatshirt. I'm going to do a similar, maybe I'm going to do, let me think about this for just a second. I think I'm going to do the pants that go with that other sweatshirt, because I might have two different parts to this. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to go ahead and do the pants here. Just got really warm as I'm speaking. It's almost like, I feel like my spirit's like, yeah. So, as I watched in these rooms that these people were in were transformed, the sense that I had, I kind of watched as people were trying to go throughout their day. And it was almost as if they couldn't engage with things in the way that they had been. I watched as somebody was like trying to put on old like an old shirt, like it was specifically, and somebody was putting on an old flannel shirt that was like it was something that brought them comfort, and this feeling of like this thing, as soon as they put it on their body, just burned up, and it no longer brought them comfort. It was like they could not find comfort in that that thing anymore. I saw as people were kind of watching their television, or attempting to watch their television, and it was no longer bringing them the comfort that it would have brought them. It wasn't entertaining. People were kind of not excited about viewing what they were seeing, and there was a sense of like almost like disillusionment, like what has happened to me, you know, like what's going on, and it was honestly like kind of sad. I felt sad. I felt sadness for these people a little bit. I felt a little I don't know, I felt the frustration of that moment. I felt that there must be a sense of loss almost. So I asked Spirit, I said, what is the purpose of this loss? Like, why are they losing these comfort things? And then I watched as they began to sit in meditation. They began to try some other things that they'd never done before, specifically like drinking water. I saw people drinking water, and it's kind of ironic because it's almost like this fire that's been burning them up. It's not quenching. This water's not quenching that at all. It's almost like it's feeding the flame. And I see that there's an influence that's happening, that people are shifting around them, that the environment is shifting around them. It's not anything that these people are doing even on purpose. I really feel that it's like not on purpose. Some of these people didn't even mean to engage with the water in the first place. It's almost like they got swept up into this, and they are just as surprised as anybody else that they've been changed so dramatically. But I really feel like that's just a picture of what is coming. I think that there is an awakening in our spirits that is going to take some people by surprise, and I asked Spirit, I said, is this something that's going to happen? And he said, yeah, for some, but for many, many of us, this has actually already been happening. So for a lot of us, right now, this may resonate with you in the sense that you've already been in this process. Ooh, I'm having a hard time wrapping that, so I'm going to stop. And just take in. I'm actually going to start lower on this one. I immediately knew what to shift when I asked that, so here we go. Yeah, there's a really strong sense that I had that not everybody has. There's a lot of people that have already been in this process for a while, and it's been uncomfortable for a while. They've been hiding in their rooms because they don't want to like affect too many people, because they're just fiery. And this fire is not something that we know what to do with, right? Like, this is something that is new. We haven't seen it, and it burns up the things that are comfortable. And the thing about fire burning up stuff that's comfortable is that once that's happened, you can't go back to it. It's like that thing, it's not even there anymore. It's not even a possibility. And I see that there are some people that are like, that's where the hiding under the blankets come in. You know, when I saw people kind of hiding under their blankets, it was like they're trying to kind of revisit you know, some of those things, and maybe the blanket didn't burn up because they could find another blanket, or, you know, whatever. They're trying things that, you know, would have brought comfort before, and there's that, nothing's bringing comfort. And so that's where the search for, okay, well then where am I going to find comfort? Where am I, you know, what, first of all, what's happened to me, and now where am I going to find comfort? Where am I going to find rest and this space of feeling totally taken off guard by the huge change that's happened. And so I feel like initially this feeling is like, wow, this is a really hard thing that's happened. This is a really big challenge. This is a big change. But then I see that, like, there's, the thing is that when I was watching this, I didn't feel afraid. It's almost like I was watching it from a really outside perspective, where I was seeing this whole picture play out, but I've had, as I was watching it, so much internal peace that, like, everything was going to be okay. Not just okay, but like really good. Like this is a good thing. This is a good thing. And so I just want to speak that. If you've been feeling this tension of the time that we're in, and you've been wondering, you know, like, what am I doing? What's happening to me? You're not alone. There's a lot of us that have been going through this process. A lot of us that have been, we have been literally burned by this fire and burned up, like the things that we have known as it's all burned up. And just want to say that you're not alone. This is not the first time this has happened. Well, actually, that's not true. As soon as I said it, Spirit's like, no, this is the first time that this particular thing has happened. But humanity has gone through changes. Humanity has gone through, has shifted before, and we are going to shift again. And many of us actually have already been going through this shift. So if you're one of those people that's already been going through this shift, know that you're not alone. If you're somebody who's just now entering the pool, and you sense that, you know, your whole life is burning up, and you're watching it burn up, and you're watching the stuff burn off of you. You're watching the old patterns and habits and things that you used to do just not bring you comfort anymore. This is part of the plan. So just, if you can, I sense really strongly, and my encouragement to you is just embrace this process as much as you can, because, you know, like I said, this is kind of like, this is going to happen, because this huge whirlwind of a fire is coming through, and it's almost like, I feel like Spirit's saying, hey, like, everything's going to burn up, but this can be to your benefit. Like, you don't have to, this doesn't actually, you can view this as a good thing, because it is a good thing. All right, this t-shirt or sweatpants are done. Okay, I'm going to get started on this other sweatshirt. I'm sensing something a little bit different for this sweatshirt. It's interesting. It's something I haven't done before, so I'm just going to kind of wait and think about this. For those of you that have been in the process, you're not alone. And then for those of you that are just now realizing that this is a process that you are going to have to go through, it's going to be okay. I just want to say that out loud. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And it's going to look different for every person. Wow. Okay, I'm not going to tie this like that. I'm going to do something else. So I'm going to just start to kind of pull these together, kind of like the beginning of that flame that I saw, kind of in a long, it was in a long line, like the wind. It looked like a beautiful wind cloud. I'm actually going to just swirl this like this. I'm going to swirl it up. And I just want to just recognize that the storm has been fierce, and those of us that have been feeling it, I just want to say, yep, that's really real. But there's a method to this madness. There's some order in this storm, and there's a reason for it. And I feel like Spirit's just saying, hey, just trust this process. I'm not even gonna like wrap that up. I'm not even gonna try to put a definition on that. I'm just gonna wrap it up like this, and then when I place it in the bin, it'll stay. So I'm gonna do that with this one. I'm actually gonna do a really similar thing with these pants here. Order in the storm. It's pretty simple. It's almost like you just need to just let yourself experience what's there, and recognize there's something here for you. The storm is here for you. It's actually for you. Okay, I'm going to use a big bin today because I'm doing these big pieces. I'm going to go ahead and tuck this guy right in the corner. And tuck this other one in the other corner. Two little cinnamon rolls. Raising, like getting ready to rise. I just sense that. Yeah, this is we're waiting for this to rise. We're waiting for this process now. Okay. I'm gonna put these other little sweatpants in here like this. This is kind of funny, but I'm just going to stick that in between there like that. Stick this in here like this. Oh, yeah. What's funny is today when I was getting ready for this, I actually sort of saw myself layering pieces on top of pieces, and I haven't really done that before, so it's kind of an interesting thing. We'll see what happens here, but I'm going to actually squish these up a little bit and put this down in here. And I'm going to rest these arms on here, and I just see this actually, it's so interesting because we're talking about those of us that have been in this fiery space already. We've already been in this process for a while, and I see this, so it's kind of like these ones that we were talking about, that these are the ones that have already been in the process for a while. And then I see these like little cinnamon rolls, like little babies in this process. And if you're if you've been in the process for a while and you've been tied up and waiting for your time, I think that's really, that's actually kind of being represented right here. And then I also see this kind of support and connection that there is between the cinnamon rolls and the tied up bits. And I'm not really sure how this is supposed to fit in here, so I'm kind of just waiting. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put the dye on these pieces first, and then I'm going to layer it with ice, and then I'm going to do it on the second one on the other one. I don't know if that makes sense. That's okay if it doesn't. Okay. I'm gonna take a deep breath. There's a part of me that's like panicking because I don't have enough room in this container. And I sort of sense that it's actually like, it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna do this a different way than what I initially thought, and that's actually okay. So what I'm gonna first do is I'm gonna add in some of this blue color. This is a really similar color to what I initially saw in the first part of my vision, with the fire coming through that was this white icy blue color. I'm just gonna pour this blue over the clothes here, just really liberally, just add it. And as I'm adding this blue, I'm just gonna say out loud with my mouth that, Spirit, you are so trustworthy. You're so trustworthy, and as your fire comes through, I just want to say out loud that we trust you, even though we don't understand it. We know that your fire is powerful. We may not understand this fully, but we trust the refining, purifying fire of the Spirit coming through. I'm going to add a little bit of violet. I'm going to add it a little bit more carefully as we're letting go of the things that we've known in our life, the things that have made us feel comfortable and protected. And we're learning to let go because the fire's burning it up. There's not much we can do about that, so we're going to let it go with grace. I'm going to ask you, Spirit, to help us do that. Help us to just be able to release with grace. Grace for ourselves, grace for everybody else in this process. This isn't easy. This is not easy. This is not easy. Yeah. It's okay if it's not easy. It's not easy to do this, but I just want to remind you that Spirit's actually doing the heavy lifting, coming before with the flame. We just have to sort of participate by releasing ourselves into that, letting it go. Okay, I'm gonna add another. You can't really tell if this is a different color, but it is. This is actually a purple color. And there's a space of gratitude that I'd like to just hold right now. Gratitude for the teachers, the ones that have gone before, the ones that have experienced the flame for a long time, so that they can tell us that we won't die. So they can tell us that we're not gonna perish in this fire. And they can explain to us what we're seeing as we go along. So gratitude for these teachers. And there are so many of them. There are so many of these teachers. There's so many teachers, you guys. Keep your eyes open for the teachers and share gratitude with our teachers when we recognize who they are. Okay. I'm going to add one more color to this mix. This is a really beautiful light purple color. And I just ask for a breath of fresh air and clean water. Water that doesn't quench the flame but actually feeds it. Water like peace. We're using so much of this because I sense that there's a really strong need for this beautiful sense of water. Whew. All right. Now I'm not going to talk while I'm adding the ice because I tried that before and it was really loud. Some ice water here. You'll even start to see some of those colors change, right, as we're doing this. Got all hard as we were waiting for this. Started melting together. Ice ASMR, right? Funny, as I was sitting, as the ice was sitting, it all melted together and made a big chunk. So, enjoy the sounds of ice ASMR as I'm breaking it all up down there. All right, now I'm going to do the next shirt here. Like I said before, as I was getting ready to do this, I saw myself actually layering these shirts actually so much like this, and I actually thought I was gonna have enough room, so I thought that was kind of funny to think about that, but here we are doing exactly what I was envisioning for. And I just think that this is a picture of us as we are supported under and over. We have what we need underneath us and over us too. this sweatshirt's going to benefit from the dye underneath it, and the shirts below will benefit from the dye that I'm putting on this sweatshirt. So total win-win. Just make sure I know where my little ties are so I can add that. Those other purples. This is going to be so cool. And purple. Purple poured out like water. Let not your hearts be frightened or afraid of the changes that are coming. We're all in this together. Some of us have been doing it for a long time. So if this feels new to you, don't be afraid to reach out. There's a lot of people here who know what to do. All right, I'm gonna put this big chunk on top just so it can slow melt into that. What fun is that? Big chunk. Love it. Beautiful. This is going to be exciting. Well, if you resonated with that message, I'm so glad. And if you are interested in either of these pieces after they're finished, they'll be up on my Etsy store, and I'll let you know when that is. And yeah, if you want to support, thank you so much. If you want to support what I'm doing, you can just follow along here, and I'm so glad to have you here with me. I'm going to be doing this a lot, so keep your eyes open, and I'll talk to you really soon. I love you very much. We're all in this together.